Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video tonight I am going to be giving you a match reaction for the Norwich City Liverpool game that's just ended. Norwich City 0, Liverpool 1 at Carrow Road. Sadio Mane's goal with 12 minutes to go was enough to put Liverpool 25 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Also, now Liverpool have their 25th top flight victory, and they have now extended their unbeaten run to 43 in the Premier League. Now, obviously, I'm going to give you my overarching view now on the game. Of course, Liverpool, weren't at their best today. They wasn't at their best today. You've got to credit Norwich, because I thought, Norwich played really, really well. I've just read some of the stats, and it actually, said Liverpool had a lot of shots in the game. I think Liverpool had around 17 shots. Norwich only managed 5 shots. Norwich had 1 shot on target, and Liverpool had around 6 shots on target. But, nothing much happened in the first half, really. I think in the first half, Norwich had a couple of, decent chances. They had one through Lucas Rupp. Obviously in the second half, Alexander Tete, hit the post for Norwich, and also Allinson had to produce a world-class save. I thought defensively, Norwich did quite well. I thought Grant Hanley played well for them. Todd Cantwell on that left-hand side quite a few times was causing problems for Liverpool, but Norwich did really, really well today. And if Norwich could have defended like that, if they can defend like that in every game, if they could have done, they wouldn't have been bottom of the league now, Norwich. So in a way, I do feel sorry for them, because I expected Liverpool to win more than I expect them to win more than 1-0 today. Liverpool and that. But to be fair, Liverpool's senior squad prior to this game, had a 2 weeks rest. Don't forget, because before the break, obviously Liverpool had played against Shrewsbury, and they had played all their under-23s. Also in the first half, I think Sam Byron had to come off for Norwich because he had sustained an injury. So I think Jamal Lewis had come on for him. The only shot on target Liverpool had registered in the first half was from Oxlade-Chamberlain, but Norwich actually themselves didn't register one single shot on target in that first half. And then in the second half, it did liven up a bit. Liverpool did create a lot of good chances in the second half. Obviously now I think Virgil Van Dijk had one. He had another good game for them today. I thought defensively good. His pass accuracy was good. I think he headed it, but Tim Krul had to make a save. I also think Naby Keita had a chance, but again tipped over by Tim Krul. So Tim Krul had to make quite a few saves. But I thought, the players that, played well for Liverpool today, I've only seen, the highlights, didn't actually, watch all of the game. Andrew Robertson had a really good game for Liverpool. He, created quite a few decent chances, did Andrew Robertson. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I thought, had another good game for them. Jordan Henderson, he threaded a lot of long balls today, did Jordan Henderson, but I don't think he was bad, Jordan Henderson, to be quite honest with you. Of course, he got the assist for Sadio Mane's goal. And yeah, so there was some good performance, by Liverpool and that. But although, they'll be just delighted, to get the win with Liverpool, and they are still unbeaten this season. And now, people are starting to believe that, Liverpool can, replicate what Arsenal did back in 2004. Because obviously, at this moment in time, Arsenal are the only team, to be undefeated in the Premier League era. And I think definitely Liverpool are going to get minimum 100 points this season. They're probably going to get more than 100 points. So in that aspect, they are going to break Manchester City's record from a couple of years ago. So I really do think, Liverpool are currently going to do this. Liverpool did bring some substitutions on in the game in the second half. There was no changes made at half-time in this game. Of course, Sadio Mane came on. He scored, obviously. Obviously, he's just come back from injury as Sadio Mane, and I can't think of any striker that's been better than Sadio Mane this season, because Sadio Mane has been absolutely unbelievable for Liverpool. He's a player that can create chances, he can make good runs, he can score goals. Very, very good player is Mane. And I've got the same, perception on Roberto Firmino. I think he's also, been in scintillating form for them this season. I've got to be honest with you, I think them two have been in much better form than Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah's had some good games this season, but I think, his finishing is letting him down. He hasn't seemed to have had that clinical element this season, Mohamed Salah. But Mane and Firmino have been in much better form than him. But yeah, Mane came on also to Fabinho came on and James Milner came on. You know, James Milner has just recently come back from injury for Liverpool. But, you know, yeah, Liverpool's only absentees now is Nathaniel Klein and Shaqiri. And reflect on that, you know, this season, Liverpool have had a lot of injuries, but, you know, it hasn't affected them in a bad way. Because, like I just said, Milner's just come back, Mane's just come back, you know, Chamberlain just come back not too long ago, you know, Fabinho, you know, recently come back, Joe Matip, you know, recently come back. So, you have had quite a few injuries in Liverpool. Liverpool now only need 5 wins, you know, to win their first ever Premier League title, and they are going to end their 30-year drought. So, like I mentioned, it's going to be their first ever Premier League title and their 19th overall. So that means they only will be one behind us, will Liverpool. But in terms of Premier Leagues, you know, they're going to be still 12 behind us, you know, because, you know, we're on 13 Premier League titles and that. But like I mentioned, you know, Liverpool are now the best team in the world without a shadow of a doubt, and I hate to say that as a Manchester United fan. But, you know, they are the best team in the world, and this is the best Liverpool team I've seen in this generation. Probably since, you know, our team, you know, that we had back in 2009. You know, it's the best Liverpool team I've seen, you know, for quite a long time. And, you know, I've got to admire Jurgen Klopp because I think he's a very, very good manager. You know, he's always, like I mentioned, he's always had the style of play. You know, he had this style of play at Borussia Dortmund, but Jurgen Klopp has emulated himself up over the years. You know, Jurgen Klopp is into his 5th season with Liverpool. You know, he got recommended him back in 2015. And, you know, he's done, you know, obviously didn't start off well. But, you know, Liverpool have obviously, you know, backed him and that. And look, you know, at the position, you know, Liverpool are in now. When Liverpool do win the Premier League this season, it will be their 4th major honour under Jurgen Klopp. Because already this season, you know, they've won the FIFA Club World Cup. They won the Super Cup earlier on this season against Chelsea, and they won the Champions League at the end of last season. But Liverpool are just, you know, absolutely unstoppable. But, you know, like I said, revert back to what I said, you know, Norwich, we know that they're going down, obviously, you know, this season. But, you know, they'll be disappointed, you know, they won't be disappointed with the performance. And, you know, don't forget, Norwich did beat Manchester City earlier on this season. And, you know, Norwich, you know, today approached the game similar to the one against Man City, because I think they went with a similar tactics, did Norwich. But there was quite a few good performances by Norwich in that. And now, reflecting on, you know, the game today, a lot of people do believe that Liverpool could now struggle against Atletico Madrid on Tuesday night. You know, they have got Atletico Madrid on Tuesday night in the last 16 of the Champions League. The first leg is away from home. And if, you know, they put a performance out against Atletico Madrid like they did today, you know, maybe, you know, they could get beat, because, you know, they weren't great today, Liverpool. You know, they weren't bad, but, you know, obviously, you know, it wasn't, you know, Liverpool's best performance by all means. But against Atletico Madrid, I still believe Liverpool are going to progress past them over the 2 legs. You know, don't get me wrong, Atletico Madrid are a pretty decent team. I don't think they're as good as they used to be. They haven't been as good, you know, since they lost Antoine Griezmann of Atletico Madrid. Of course, as well, you know, they have had quite a lot of injuries. You know, Morata's just come back from injury for them. You know, Diego Costa's, I think, still out. You know, Joel Felix, Hector Herrera, Kieran Trippier, Manuel Sanchez has just come back for, you know, Atletico Madrid. So they have had quite a few injuries. You know, Diego Simeone has been a long-serving manager. I think he's been at Atletico Madrid now around 8.5 years. But Atletico Madrid have still got some decent players in the team that could cause Liverpool problems. You know, obviously, I think they didn't get around 3 players last summer. They got Saul Niguez. You know, he's still got a good 6.5 years left on his contract, because a couple of years ago he signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. Back in 2017 this was. You know, Marcos Llorente, they got him from Real Madrid last summer for 35 million. Did you know Atletico Madrid? Like I said, you know, they also got Joel Felix from Benfica. But, you know, Liverpool won't be bothered if they don't get past Atletico Madrid anywhere, because, you know, the Premier League is their priority. You know, they'd love to win the Champions League, obviously. You know, they have, you know, they are the most successful team in England in Champions League history, because they have won the most Champions Leagues out of the English clubs. Obviously, overall, Real Madrid have won the most Champions Leagues. You know, Real Madrid have won the most Champions Leagues. But, you know, Liverpool may not only win the Premier League this season, like I've said, you know, they could win, you know, something else. You know, they could win the Champions League. They've got a fantastic pedigree in the Champions League of Liverpool. You know, there was, you know, they won it last season against Tottenham. You know, they progressed to the final the season before against Real Madrid, but did lose by 3 goals to 1. But they've got a very, very good pedigree in the Champions League, and they have done well to get to the knockouts of Liverpool, take into account, they are into the 5th round of the FA Cup, but the FA Cup isn't a priority for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, more than likely Liverpool will go out against Chelsea in the 5th round. There again, depends how, Jurgen Klopp approaches that game. He'll play some, first teamers. I think he'll also play some inexperienced players. Will Klopp against Chelsea in the 5th round. I think he'll probably play a similar team to how he did do, against Shrewsbury in the first match. I think this is, what Jurgen Klopp, will do. But it's not Liverpool's priority, the FA Cup. They haven't won the FA Cup, though, since 2006. They haven't and that. But yeah, as long as they can get the Premier League on the board, Liverpool are not bothered. But Liverpool are not one-season wonders. I honestly believe, from my own perception, they can win the league for the next 2 to 3 years at least, definitely. They can do this, can Liverpool, because obviously, they're going to strengthen up their squad more in the summer and that. Obviously, on the other hand, they are going to get rid of players. Liverpool I think they've spent, is it just over £400 million since Jurgen Klopp got recommended in? And that's, totally comparison to what my club, Man United, have spent, and Man City, because us and City have spent more money than Liverpool in the last, 5 or 6 years or so. But like I mentioned, always spending big on players and getting them Galactico players doesn't always guarantee you success. Maybe sometimes, in some aspects, it's, beneficial to be sensible with your recruitment. But with Liverpool, like I said, the players a unit, the players a team, and this is what, where they are. This is why they're in the position, that they're in. And I think now, honestly, I do believe Liverpool are now going to start to replicate what we did under Alex Ferguson 4 years on end, because, Ferguson endured 26, 27 years at Man United. Obviously, he didn't win out in his first 4 years, but, after that, it was unbelievable what he went and accomplished, Alex Ferguson, and I think, Liverpool are going to start to replicate this now, to be quite honest with you in that. But like I said, Liverpool have got a really, really good team. They haven't only got a good senior squad. I think they've also got a lot of good young players. That are coming through. Like I mentioned, I thought a lot of the young players did very, very well against Shrewsbury in the FA Cup 4th round replay. Like I mentioned, I thought that Van den Berg did well for them at centre half. Adam Lewis did well. That Nico Williams seems a pretty decent player for Liverpool. Curtis Jones, Liam Miller did well, Harvey Elliott. So yeah, I think Liverpool have got a lot of good young players, coming through, to be honest with you. But, like I said, I think Allinson, very, very good goalkeeper. Like I said, he had to produce a world-class save today. Norwich could have quite easily scored today. But I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world at this present time. Overall not, but at this present time, definitely. Virgil Van Dijk, of course, best centre-half in the world. Like I mentioned, I thought he had a great game today for Liverpool. Obviously, he was playing alongside Joe Gomez. I think that's Jurgen Klopp's first choice centre-backs, is it? Joe Gomez and Virgil Van Dijk. Liverpool have got a lot of centre-halves in their team. Obviously, they've got Matip. You could probably say he's one of the backups. Maybe Dejan Lovren, he's another backup. But his first choice centre-halves are Virgil Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. I gave you news, didn't I, regarding Virgil van Dijk not too long ago. Obviously, I don't know if he signed it yet, but the last time I read about the stories about Van Dijk, it said he was going to be, signing a new contract worth £50 million. He said, this new contract would be a 5-year deal, so it'd take him under contract with Liverpool until 2025, Virgil van Dijk. And, he'd get an increase on his wages. With bonuses and image rights included, he'd get around £200,000 a week. So what that means on that aspect is that, Virgil van Dijk would be the highest paid centre-half in the Premier League. So, this is what it has basically said. But the main explanation why he's getting this new contract is to fend off Juventus' interest and also reflecting on his good run of performances. Virgil van Dijk is Liverpool's most expensive signing at the moment, and he's the second most expensive centre-half in the world. And he's absolutely fantastic. I think he went through a period, I think it was last year, where no player managed to dribble past Virgil van Dijk, and he also won the PFA Player of the Year last season, reflecting on his good performances. But since he's arrived from Southampton back in January 2018, Virgil van Dijk has been absolutely unbelievable for Liverpool. But what a good buy he was, because, he's addressed Liverpool's defensive deficiencies. I think, Trent Alexander-Arnold's done really, really well. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't think I've got any element of concerns about him, to be honest with you. I think he can cross the ball well. He shows good attacking intent. He did that quite a few times today on that right-hand side. I think also defensively he's very, very good. And up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Liverpool. And I don't think he'll ever consider leaving Liverpool, with how dominant, they are at the moment. They will continue this dominance. Andrew Robertson, he's, another player that's done really, really well. Liverpool only paid £3 million for Andrew Robertson from Hull. I think it was from Hull, yeah. But, reflecting on, the players that Liverpool have bought, let's talk. So, Robertson, £3 million. Reflecting now on his good run of performances, Liverpool, how much would he be worth in the transfer market? Virgil Van Dijk, reflect on his good run of performances, how much now would he be worth in the transfer market? Probably double than what Liverpool paid for him, maybe even more. They paid, around 32, was it? 33 million for Salah, something like that. He may be moved on in the future, but I don't think he'll leave in the summer, Mohamed Salah. But how much, will he be worth now? Liverpool would generate over £100 million if they did get rid of Salah. Even if it was, not this summer and it was, next year or the next couple of years, I still think Liverpool would get over £100 million for him. Mane, how much did they pay for Mane? I can't remember. Was it 30 odd million or something like that? I can't actually remember how much they paid for Mane. But he'll obviously now be worth more than they paid for him. Firmino, they got, I can't remember how much they paid for him. But again, he'll be worth more, than what Liverpool paid for him. So there you go, basically. And Liverpool have got a lot of midfielders in their team as well. They've got a lot of midfielders in their team, and maybe they could consider getting rid of some midfielders in the summer. I think Naby Keita, like I said, had a good game for them today, but he doesn't get in the team enough, from my own perception. He does fulfill that number 8 mainly, but I think he's probably used there as a backup, is Keita, because he doesn't really play that much. But I know he did play today, did Naby Keita, but he possibly, could be moved on in the summer. Adam Lallana, he does sometimes play. He hasn't been a bad player for Liverpool, but for me, same perception on Keita, doesn't get in the team enough. Adam Lallana, I think Liverpool are at a risk of losing him on a free transfer at the end of the season, reportedly. I don't know if Liverpool have entered any negotiations over getting him a new contract, Adam Lallana. Fabinho, he plays a lot, Fabinho, and I think he's done really, really well as Fabinho. Jorginho Wijnaldum, I think he's also a very, very good player for Liverpool. Probably won't be moved on in the summer, but probably will be moved on in the future, will Jorginho Wijnaldum. So, Liverpool have got a lot of midfielders in their team. Milner's still going very, very strong, despite the fact now that he's in his 30s, is James Milner. Yes, he is. Chamberlain, he was actually, playing on the left-hand side today, was Chamberlain. So, he was actually, playing... He was playing alongside Salah and Firmino, was Chamberlain today. He usually plays in the mid, but he was actually playing on the left-hand side today, was Oxlade and Chamberlain. I think he's recently rejuvenated himself as Chamberlain since, he come back from injury and that. But, like I mentioned, Liverpool have got an absolutely fantastic squad. But I think, the players they're going to get rid of in the summer, like I've just said, I think Klein will definitely go. He's currently injured at the moment, is Klein. Doesn't get in the team anywhere because Trent Alexander-Arnold is first choice ahead of him. I think Shaqiri, he's another one that could be moved on. Again, Liverpool only paid 13 million for him. Do you think they can get more than the 30 million pounds that they paid for him from Stoke? He's not a 90-minute player, like I've said before. He tends to make an impact, from the substitutes bench. Does, Shaqiri. And he's a good backup, to be fair. Dick Origi, he's the same. He's a good backup, to the likes of Mane, Salah and Firmino. But, Origi, when he does get his chances, he can play well. But I think Shaqiri and Origi could also be moved on in the summer. I can't actually, estimate how much Liverpool have got. But obviously, if they get rid of some players in the summer, they're going to generate money for that, obviously. I do believe they'll have quite a bit of money, with Liverpool. They're a massive club with a fantastic history, just like Man United overall. Now they've got a very, very good fan base because, I think, didn't they extend their stadium, Liverpool? But, they're also, I think they're going to spend a substantial amount this summer at Liverpool because, they're going to want to make signings in the summer. Of course, in the January transfer window, they did get one player on the board, and that was Takumi Minamino from Red Bull, from Red Bull Salzburg for 7.25 million. Red Bull Salzburg, yeah. And Takuma Minamino's played a couple of games. Obviously, he isn't first choice in the Premier League. I think he probably will get more chances going on into next season with Takuma Minamino. Liverpool did want to make more signings in January, and they had quite a few players on their agenda, but the main explanation why they wanted to make more signings, even though realistically they didn't really need any, is because reflecting on the injuries that Liverpool have had. So they wanted to get signings in as cover-ups, for their injuries. But even though the injuries they've had this season, it has not affected them in our current bad way. Well, there, guys, I'm just... has not affected them, in a bad way, like I said. So I'll give you a bit of an update now on Liverpool's transfer news. I've been keeping up to date with Liverpool's transfer news, on a regular basis, haven't I? I gave you the news the other day, saying that Liverpool are now backing for Kylian Mbappe from PSG. Obviously, I think Liverpool themselves and Jurgen Klopp, obviously, do believe that they can't afford, Kylian Mbappe, unless, they get rid of a few of their imperative players and generate a lot of money for their departures. But otherwise, for me, they can't afford Kylian Mbappe because he would cost Liverpool in the excess of around £200 million. On the other hand, I don't see the point in Liverpool getting him in anywhere because he wouldn't be assured first team. He wouldn't be assured to get in the team week in, week out. And he wouldn't get in the team because Liverpool have got Salah, Firmino and Mane as their first choice attacking trio, so how would Mbappe get in there? But he says, Liverpool are back in for him anywhere. There's a few clubs that are in for Mbappe. PSG have reportedly, received offers from like 4 teams. Liverpool put an offer in, we put an offer in, Man United, Real Madrid, and so too did Barcelona. I think actually, he's got no intentions of leaving PSG as Mbappe, but I think, if he was to leave, he'd actually, end up making the move to Real Madrid. Florentino Perez, the Real Madrid president, he came out and said he wants to sign Mbappe in 2021. But Mbappe, I think, still under contract with PSG until 2022, so he's still got around 2 years left on his deal, as with PSG. PSG, anyway, I've got no intentions of selling him. Reports were emerging out the other day saying that PSG, were determined to offer him around a 41 million a year contract. That equates to around 750 grand a week. And if he was to sign this new deal, he would be the highest paid player at PSG. As it stands at the moment, he's the second most expensive signing in the world, just behind Neymar. PSG paid 166 million in transfer fees for Kylian Mbappe. But, and he also wouldn't be far behind Messi's salary or Cristiano Ronaldo's salary. So overall, if he was to sign this new deal, he would be the third highest, paid player in the world, would Mbappe. But he's only 21 years of age. He's one of the most talented, elite players on the planet is Kylian Mbappe. Very, very good prospect. And I also thought he did well when he was at Monaco. He was also very, very good there, was Kylian Mbappe. But I don't see him leaving PSG, probably not this summer anywhere. Probably he won't spend the entirety of his career from now on with PSG, but I don't think, he will leave in the summer. But it's very, very unlikely that there's more chance of him going to Liverpool than Man United because it's very unlikely, Kylian Mbappe, will come to Manchester United and that. But I can't see, Liverpool getting him in on the board. Obviously, I've been keeping up to date of what's going on with Kai Havertz. Obviously, Kai Havertz has been another player on Liverpool's agenda. Again, he's going to cost Liverpool over £100 million if they are to recommend Kai Havertz in the summer transfer window. I think the likes of Bayern Munich have also been in for Kai Havertz. He's only 20, and up until this point, Kai Havertz has spent the entirety of his career with Bayer Leverkusen, and he's gained experience now because I think he's been their senior squad, hasn't he, since 2016 or 2017, Kai Havertz. I think he's predominantly a box-to-box midfielder. Do you think he'd complement Liverpool's midfield if he was to go there? Kai Havertz probably would get in the team. If Liverpool get rid of a couple of midfielders this summer, I think Kai Havertz would get in the team. But, I think Bayer Leverkusen have quoted out saying that they want around £107 million. Are Liverpool going to be determined to pay that £107 million? But reports were saying that they've identified, him as their number one priority target for the summer. And they've obviously, they've showed an interest, obviously, in Jadon Sancho. But again, I can't see, him going to Liverpool, Jadon Sancho, because I don't think he'd fit Liverpool's system again. How would he get in the team? How would he get in the team, Jadon Sancho, and that? So, yeah, so say if Liverpool were to get Mbappe and Kai Havertz, that's going to cost them over £300 million for two players, and definitely Liverpool can't afford that. They cannot afford that, Liverpool. Mbappe alone's going to cost 200 million. Kai Havertz alone's going to cost over 100. Jadon Sancho's going to cost over 100 and that. So, yeah, but Liverpool will make signings in the summer, and they are going to... When you're as dominant as Liverpool, you are going to attract players to the elite level, definitely in that. But like I said, Jurgen Klopp, very, very good manager. He's the best manager Liverpool have had in this generation. Like I've mentioned before, Liverpool have had good managers over the years, but they've also had some poor managers. I thought Brendan Rodgers enjoyed one good season with Liverpool. Roy Hodgson wasn't so good for them. Kenneth Dalglish wasn't so good for them, but was a good player. Rafa Benitez was also very, very good for Liverpool. So they've had some good managers and they've had some bad managers over the years. But, Jurgen Klopp's got a contract with Liverpool until 2024. So I think, eventually he obviously will leave Liverpool. And when he does eventually, leave Liverpool, I think Jurgen Klopp, will probably make a return back to Germany, to be quite honest with you. I thought he was quite good at Borussia Dortmund with Klopp. He did win a couple of titles with them. Obviously, before that, he was at Mainz 05, and I think he actually, got relegated with Mainz 05. So he hasn't got a brilliant pedigree behind him, Klopp. He hasn't managed managed numerous clubs. Liverpool's only the third club he's managing in his managerial career. But you've got to credit him, for what he's currently done. But Liverpool are just currently unstoppable, definitely unstoppable. And Liverpool will be very relieved, like a lot of teams as well, out of the top four. Reflecting on Manchester City being banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons, like I've been keeping you up to date on a regular basis. The main explanation why they're banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons is because, they have broken financial fair play regulations. And not only that, City have been fined £25 million for this. So obviously, now 5th spot is a Champions League spot. So, like I mentioned, it's very good news for us. It's good news for Sheffield United, Arsenal, Tottenham, and that. It is, very, very good news. I think actually, there's quite a lot of Man U and Liverpool fans demanding for City to have, points deducted from them in the Premier League. But that's not the adequate punishment, like I mentioned earlier on. They've been banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons, and reflecting on that, Pep Guardiola could, walk away from the Man City job in the summer. He could walk away from the Man City job in the summer. But City have appealed against this decision, like I mentioned. They'll throw a lot of money at the appeal, but the appeal is going to take... It's going to be a long process. It's going to take a while, it could take weeks, could take months. We may not even know the outcome until the summer, basically. But City, will still continue playing in this season's Champions League. And, Guardiola was coming out anyway saying if City don't win the Champions League this season, he said he could be sacked as Manchester City manager. Obviously, Guardiola is, in his 4th season now at Man City. You've got to credit him for what he's done, because he has done well, to be fair. He's won 7 major honours with them. City won the domestic treble last season. They won, the title the season before, and there was hope in this season that they could have won their 3rd Premier League title on the trot, but obviously that's not going to happen. City are still going to win some silverware, I think, this season. They're going to win the Carabao Cup. Could still possibly win the FA Cup and that. But the Champions League is an ambition for Manchester City, because that's the only trophy they haven't won in their history, and they do want to win it, do Man City. And, City will just hope that this 2-year ban from the Champions League can be overturned. Then maybe Guardiola will stay. But if it doesn't get overturned, then I think, he will go in the summer, will Pep Guardiola, definitely. And Real Madrid in the last 16 is going to be a very tough game for Manchester City. Definitely going to be a very tough game. And they are going to struggle to keep the likes of De Bruyne, Aguero, Laporte, Sterling and all that. They're going to struggle to keep them sort of players, because players of that calibre, want to be in Champions League football. Don't get me wrong, City were nothing 10 years ago, but in the last 4 or 5 years have been, very, very dominant of Man City. But, they have built a good squad, but they've also, spent a lot of money, so you can say the purchase their success, have Manchester City in that. But they've got a small fan base, so overall they're not a massive club, Man City. They've just built their squad well in the last 4 or 5 years. You can take that into account and that. But yeah, Liverpool 25 points clear. City should have played against West Ham, recently, but obviously, they couldn't because it was a waterlogged pitch, so the game had been called off. So now City, I think, is it on Wednesday or Thursday next week against, West Ham. Well, I think is it next week. I'm not too sure. I'll have to look into it and that. But yeah, so that's your match reaction for the Norwich Liverpool game and everything to update you today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.